We are going to jump right in. Hello everyone. Okay, so I'm gonna make this super fucking quick, and I don't want to focus on this for too long. This is a stream, but it's meant to be consumed as a video. First things first, I am a transgender woman. My pronouns are she and they. I am also non-binary. I've been on hormone replacement therapy for 3 years now, as of last month. And yeah, I am doing the very fucking best that I can. I didn't speak on this immediately because, one, it was a bit of a shock for me. Two, the Ukrainian invasion, or Russia's invasion of Ukraine was taking place, and that was a bit of a shock for me as well. But I also wanted to give me some time to think on this issue before I spoke on it. That being said, I have spoken on transphobic legislation in a previous stream that is aptly titled "Straightness is Bad," or "Straightness is Wrong," or "Straightness is a Fucking Burden." It's on my channel, not too far below this one if you're watching in order. But anyway, so I'd say that I'm a transgender woman and a non-binary person, primarily because I want it to be known that I am speaking on behalf of at least not just myself, but as a trans person. I don't represent the entire transgender diaspora. I mean, like, not every trans person agrees with me specifically. Sometimes transgender people have different political views. Sometimes we have different views on how we view our gender identities. And that can sometimes conflict with each other. But in essence, I just want to make it extremely fucking clear that I am transgender. I am not cisgender, and I am not speaking and putting words in other trans people's mouths. That being said, we're going to talk about Texas. And, I mean, by all practical effect, Florida too. But we'll talk about Florida another time. I want to focus on Texas today. Texas just released a brand spanking new bill to prevent child abuse. And as a victim of child abuse, that's a big deal. A round of applause for Texas, right? Now, I am really glad that we're finally cracking down on all the pedophile priests in the Catholic Church who, let me explain, Texas has a really bad Catholic Church pedophile priest issue, right? And, there have been, news reports of, priests getting away with raping children since, the 1940s and possibly even before that. And then then when they get caught, they have their little bake sale and they condemn that person who called out against them for saying something. They say that they're from hell, they're satanic or whatever. They're going to be condemned to hell. They're speaking against the good Lord or whatever. And then they have a little bake sale. They fundraise for that priest to get bailed out of prison, right? And then if the tension gets too much, they get relocated to another church or another town entirely. Now, that's not just exclusive to Texas. Of course, I'm not from Texas. I experienced this not in Texas, but it is a thing that is prevalent in Texas, very much so. And I think it's important that we acknowledge this because, wow, there's finally a bill in Texas to stop child abuse. And maybe, just maybe, finally, we can get revenge on our abusers. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on one second. I'm getting a text message here. Oh, shit. Okay, well, I guess I was wrong. So, wow, this is awkward. So I guess pedophile priests are not getting, gunned down, en masse by, law enforcement? Because holy shit, wouldn't that be nice? I guess not. Instead, it has gotten to a point to where the bill is focusing on transgender children. It is actually a targeting of transgender children, and they're holding, like, not just the teachers, but also the parents accountable to it. So the teachers are now legally required to profile children, their own children. Like, can you imagine, like, how predatory that is? The law is that predatory in this respect. They could fucking be, you know, hunting down priests, but no, they're hunting down children instead. So now we got children being profiled in class, you know, whether or not they're transgender, and then if they are profiled as transgender, then Child Protective Services come and take them away, and then they make them straight, or whatever. Or like they fucking, you know, do electroshock therapy and they abuse the child, because how dare the child be happy? Like, this is what I'm talking about, right? Like, you know, it's really sad, because like what's really sad about it is that there are parents who like actually support their children. I mean, they're rare and few and far between, but they exist. And honestly, like, more power to those parents. But if you live in Texas and you're one of those parents, you need to fucking like haul your fucking ass towards Greg Abbott's house or some shit. You need to fucking make a fucking loud ass noise. You need to ruin like Greg Abbott's day. You need to like, I mean, you need to like fucking go and eat the goddamn rich at this point. Like, I mean, like, the call to action is now, go eat the fucking rich. Cause like, at this fucking point, it's really just cisgender old white men who have never even spoken to a transgender person in their lives. And they think that, you know, there's some weird trans agenda coming to go get their children or some shit. When really, like, all straightness is forcing people to assimilate to a binary culture. There's always this rhetoric of, you know, I don't mind the gays, but they better not, you know, shove their fucking, you know, whatever down my throat. That's some projection right there. Because all straightness is, you know, shoving heteronormative fucking values. I don't think straight people have any values. I think straight people are fucking lost and confused. Like, that's all they do is shove their fucking straightness down our throats. And they just decide that it's not okay to, you know, go after priests in the same way. There was this one report that I saw, and I actually did a video on this report where the priests were like being outed, but only the ones that were like well known and quote unquote confirmed to be pedophiles and sex offenders. But I remember seeing it's the same report having one of the victims being interviewed, and he was saying something to the effect of, well, that only accounts for those who have been confirmed to be you know, offenders. So when that implies there may be more, and yet they don't go out of their way to investigate the law and law enforcement. They don't do that. They don't investigate the church. The church is a fucking taxes exempted fucking industry. Like, I'm not making a hyperbole when I say that, like, the Catholic Church is a child raping industry. It profits off of raping children. And yet they don't go after that. Instead, they go after transgender children and their parents and the teachers. Holy shit, the state of Texas, not the people of Texas, the state of Texas, the government, the actual fucking state body organ of class rule. That shit needs to fucking be decimated, abolished. Just like the rest of the fucking goddamn U.S. empire. The U.S. empire needs to be systematically fucking abolished. Because all this is doing is just reinforcing this. Joe Biden, like, all of his shit is so fucking performative. all of his pro-LGBTQ plus fucking rhetoric is performative as hell. If you support Biden unironically, you have no idea, no fucking clue just how fucking, like, not helpful Joe Biden is in any of this. I mean, we saw this coming from a mile away, but this is just absolutely absurd. It is absolutely fucking absurd that, like, Joe Biden, the literal fucking president of the USA, like, I mean, I get it. I know what people are going to say. You know, the fucking federal government can't do anything about the state government. All that does is just reinforces my point, right? It reinforces my point that the way the system works right now doesn't fucking work, right? And then I know what people are going to say next. Well, if you don't like the USA or if you don't like Texas, I mean, for those who live in Texas and don't like the new law, then why don't you leave? And those people are usually the ones who are settler colonists. Those people are usually the ones who have ancestors who came over from Europe and raped and killed and murdered indigenous people and enslaved Africans. No, you get the fuck out. Get, like that. Shoo! Before I fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, get the fuck out. You get away. Like, honestly, why should we have to fucking yield to you? Absolutely fucking not. Like, this is just ridiculous. I'm very fortunate to live in a state where, like, transgender, rights to healthcare and, just basic services are a given. Granted, the infrastructure in the state that I live in is like piss poor, and I don't mean like the services themselves per se, but the structure behind the services. I'm not talking about like the medical services. I'm talking about like the thing that funds it in the first place, right? It is god fucking awful. And that means that people who get medical care, it is conditional to how much fucking capital you own. So when you have people in Texas who are losing their fucking children because their children are being themselves and discovering themselves for the first time and developing their identity, developing themselves, developing their future, well, fuck that. I guess that's not a thing anymore. And honestly, I'm just gonna say this one last thing, and that is, I really don't want to see any more rainbow capitalism. I don't want to see, like, fucking rainbows on Disney shit anymore. I already know Disney fucking funds, like, anti-LGBT groups already. I'm already aware. But I genuinely just, honestly, if I see another fucking rainbow on a Budweiser, I'm going to take that fucking Budweiser and throw it across the fucking room. Because, like, you know what? If we're seeing this much like anti-transgender and anti-LGBT like bills, and we see corporations being like, oh, well, we need to be a happy, accepting society with blah, 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 blah. Honestly, like this is exactly why I'm an anarchist. Like, I'm 30 years old. I'm an anarchist. Like, I've been an anarchist for more than a decade. All of this is just reinforcing my anarchist beliefs. All of this is reinforcing why I believe the U.S. empire should be abolished. Like, done. Like there should be no USA. Like, we're done with the USA. We are past the need for a USA, right? We're past the need for a nation state. We didn't even need one in the first place. The infrastructure here in the U.S. empire isn't even functioning in favor of the people. Why should we maintain it? So the rich can get another fucking tax break on April 15th? No, fuck you. Honestly, that is why I'm an anarchist. And if you are a child growing up to be a transgender person, and you're coming out of your shell, learning about yourself, honestly, I really strongly recommend like learning about anarchism, anarchist theory, anarchist schools of thought, like learning about like just how to critically analyze hierarchical class structures, like how to analyze when a hierarchy is legitimate or illegitimate. Like, that should be something that is taught in school. Same as, like, fucking critical race theory. Honestly, like, they always say critical race theory is racist and it's reinforcing racism and all that. No, it's teaching children to question racism. Like, to question racism as a thing in society and to identify it better. Like, honestly, the people who are against teaching critical race theory, they want things to be racist. They don't want you to criticize, and they don't want you to have the ability to criticize, like, these class structures, like the Catholic Church, or the state of Texas, or the U.S. Empire, any of this shit. They don't want you to do that. Because they want to keep the money going. They want to keep the money going, and the child rape going, and the racism going. I'm telling you, Texas as a state does not give two shits about child abuse or pedophilia. Like, I'm 100% like honest with you on this one. They do not give two damn shits about pedophilia or child abuse. Like, honestly, there should be protests over this. Like, there should be like a fucking goddamn outrage over this shit. There should be like fucking anger in the fucking streets, and it would be 100% justified. Like, I'm not inciting anything, of course, for those who are listening at the Secret Services for the second time in a row. I'm saying there should be a fucking outrage, which there is, and it's justified. It is 100% justified. And honestly, yes, once again, I'm gonna say this, and I'm not fucking kidding. I am against the U.S. Empire in its existence. The U.S. Empire as a fucking state, as a fucking class fucking organ of dominance and rule. As a fucking imperialist machine. Not the people in the United States Empire. I feel like people misconstrue that sometimes. If you identify as the U.S. Empire, then you are fucking goddamn nationalistic out of your fucking goddamn gourd. Like, no, you are not the U.S. Empire. You're a human fucking being. If you identify as the U.S. Empire, then holy shit, like, why should I respect your identity if you don't respect mine? Peace the fuck out.